Hey guys, it's Ryan here with Hobbies and Man. Once again, today we're doing another episode of the Sword and Sorcery Book Club. Today we're going to be looking at Conan, number 16, the ending of the fourth / maybe fifth arc of the story, depending on how you want to count the Battle of the Blackstone. And this is the last bit of storytelling related to the Frost Giant's daughter for the foreseeable future. We might come back to it later. I'm not really sure how that will happen, but I'm pretty sure next arc also deals with Bella in some way, so you know it is possible to return to certain stories, right? So yeah, the team here is the same as it's been for the past 3 issues. It's been Jim Sub, Doug Braithwaite, Diego Rodriguez, Richard Starkings, and Tyler something for the lettering here. And this was a great issue. I really enjoyed it. I think that even though this arc is mostly about adapting the Frost Giant's daughter and celebrating it and making sure that we have something special going on for it for its 90th anniversary, I think that this is also an arc that really will speak to the younger men that are picking up this issue, or that are picking up the series, right? I think that the vast majority of the demographic reading this are probably men in their 50s, right? With some, older and slightly younger men making up the bulk of the people reading this, but I think that there's enough of us in the lower ranges of that that will find a lot of value in what this story arc is giving them, right? It's mostly about growing up and dealing with your beliefs and solidifying them and trying to make a functioning understanding of the world for yourself as you continue on to live your life, right? And I think that is really well portrayed through the interactions that Conan has with a lot of the characters in this story, right? A lot of the ancillary characters that are added in or expanded on beyond the main story, right? So I think that this was a great issue for that. I think that I will find a lot of value in returning to this later. I think it just is reflective of something that I've struggled with before. I mentioned before, I'm not religious. My world-affirming decision when I turned 20 something or whatever, the same way Conan did, was that gods are not real, where Conan decided that gods are real, right? And so we diverge on that path, but the concept still applies, right? Even though I didn't have to fight for my life or get seduced by a gorgeous Nordic siren, I did still have to struggle with these ideas, right? And so I really appreciate that Jim Sub took the time to create this sort of story around that, right? And maybe he didn't really mean it to be all that deep, but it struck a chord with me, so I appreciate it, right? So let's get into what actually happens here in the arc, right? So Conan sits by the fire at the Aesir camp, and he's really stewing in his thoughts. He doesn't know what the hell he believes in now. He has, I guess you could argue, he's had like some sort of ego death, right? Like he just has realized that things are not the way that he thought they were, or maybe that they were the way that people told him they were the whole time, and he never believed them, and now he has to contend with that fact, right? He has to understand what the hell happened to him, what the hell he witnessed, what the hell he has experienced, right? And he just doesn't know who he is in this moment, right? We get a flashback here, and this happens throughout the rest of the story here, so I'm not going to really bother mentioning it every time, but this is the first time it happens. So we get to see young Conan, who is carrying around a big bucket, or it's more like a pot of water, across the anvil that his father works in, and it looks like the water is sloshing, and his father tries to chastise him about it, and then it turns out that it was an earthquake. It's not Conan's fault. And they have this dialogue about what was the cause of this earthquake, right? In the ancient sense of like religion being a way to understand the world, Conan says that this was done by devils underfoot, and his father says that it was done by Crom shuffling his feet to get more comfortable. And his father is like, it could be devils, but it is Crom, and we call them Crom's devils, and he kind of just chastises Conan about it, and they kind of move on from that, right? Conan is then approached by Grom as he's still sitting at the Aesir camp, and they have a conversation about their experiences, right? This is almost like you decide to join the church, and some of the older members of the parish show up to share their experiences with you, and to try to tell you the moments in which God revealed themselves to them to help them on this path, to try to commiserate with you, right? And Grum in this case is talking about the fact that when he saw Atali, he basically saw her at the corner of his eye, right? He had a glimpse of her in the distance, out in the wild darkness of their winter homeland, right? But that Conan got to see her up close, and he got to touch her, and he got to feel her and exist with her. And he's jealous, I guess you could say, but mostly he's just awed by the experience. And Conan continues to just kind of stew in his thoughts, and eventually decides to leave and go off to walk in the forest to see if he can kind of come to some sort of understanding, right? He doesn't really even know what is true. Like, did that even happen? Did he actually touch Atali? Did he actually see her? He knows something happened because he has the gossamer in his hands, right? But what exactly was it? Why did it happen to him, right? Conan ruminates on the fact that he believes in what he can see and touch and smell and assess, right? Like empirical evidence. He can see it, so it exists. He can touch it, so it exists. It can touch him back. You know, the basic kind of understanding of like the material world. But now he's experienced something ephemeral, something immaterial, something beyond what he knows. And he has felt it, and he has seen it, and he has smelled it. And so it must be true by the definition in which he sees the world. But it's not because he doesn't know if it's true or not, right? He might have imagined all of it. And so he finds himself just like confused the whole time. And I really love this. I think that, you know, maybe it's not the most exciting issue for your average reader that just wants to see Conan fight. And that's why what happens after this happens. But for me, this is some of the most interesting stuff that Jim has done with the characters so far. So as he's doing this, and as he's ruminating still, Conan is approached by one of the asshole Northmen from the beginning of the arc, and he just bonks him on the head, and he's like, "You deserve this." This Northman, I think his name was Osman or something like that. I can't remember his name, but this Northman is just berating Conan. He's angry that Conan is special, that he got to see the Winter Daughter. He got to live when his fellow Aesir died. He got to fight against the Vanir and win against them, and he is making up lies to try to kind of justify that, to understand that Conan is not really special. And Conan is like, yeah, dude, I'm not special at all. Although we know that he is, but within the context of the story, Conan is the same as these Northmen in all senses, right? He is a normal man just like them. He is strong like them because they also exist in these harsh environments like he does, right? But there's nothing special about him. He just happened to have stumbled across this stuff. And this guy just doesn't really get it. He doesn't want to reason with Conan. He's just angry. And so they start fighting. And of course, Conan being Conan, easily hurts him in such a way that makes him weaker, and then manages to kill him. And we get to see Conan in this berserker rage at the end of it. And apparently he's fallen under Emir's curse or something like that. And these other Aesir men show up and they see what happened, and they're like, holy shit, dude, this is horrible. And Conan comes back to his senses, and he decides to leave. He's like, you know what? This is probably the time for me to get out of here, right? So he just walks off onto the next adventure, and he leaves the Aesir men behind, right? And as he's leaving to the south, he finds one last kind of moment of reminiscence, of flashing back to his past, where he remembers his father talking to him after he was bullied about the same difficulties accepting Crom's existence that he sees Conan having. And Conan doesn't believe him. He's like, are you sure you don't believe in Crom? And his father is like, he basically ends up telling him, you know, whether I believe in him or not isn't really meaningful. I choose to act like he exists because it helps me understand myself. It helps me understand my place, and it helps me deal with reality. And I understand that that is a function that religion works as for a lot of people in the modern world. I just personally don't like religion at all. And I appreciate that this is put here and shown to people and explained to people in such a way that is understandable, right? You can see where fiction is being shown or is being used to teach a lesson to people in this, and I appreciate that a lot, right? Even if it's just dialogue, there is more to it that you can get out of it, right? Then maybe people that are reading this or watching this will think that I'm just making up a bunch of baloney, but that's fine. I appreciate this for what is being told to us, right? And so Conan listens to his father tell him this, and then his father ends this conversation with him by being kind of teasing with him about how he has to keep his mind open and his mouth shut for now until he grows up to be his own man. And this is when we get the final bit of the issue here, where Conan is walking down south, I guess, down away from the Nordheim, and is kind of coalescing his thoughts into something finally, right? He left his home, he went to Venarium to fight. He thought that by fighting and by living and by existing, he would find purpose in battle. When he did not, he continued on. And now that he has glimpsed into the hidden world, into something deeper, something more than meets the eye, he has decided that he has no purpose, and that is okay. He has decided that the gods are real and that he will go ever forward seeking strength and power, I guess you could call it. And that is ultimately the trek that he goes on, right? He becomes a thief, then a pirate, then a soldier, then a king. And that's awesome. I really love this. I thought it was a great issue here. We have an article by Jeff Shanks about the gods of the Howardverse. And I actually enjoy that they're using that title, although, I mean, maybe we don't need to have one. We can just say the world of Robert E. Howard. But I think that for the sake of branding and developing this idea, the Howardverse is a good word to use. And he talks about the gods here and how they're usually not meant to exist or are meant to exist in this sort of limbo where they might be real, they might not be. And eventually, like Robert E. Howard does come up with certain kind of situations in which they do manifest, and that they are, broadly speaking, more kind of primal, just conceptual beings that exist, that have higher power, but that are unknowable to humans. And I think that's cool. I really appreciate that. I think it was a good article. I enjoyed it. There was also a bit of interview stuff at the end here. Sean Curley from the Conan the Barbarian official YouTube channel interviews Jim and Doug Braithwaite in this page. And he also leaves a link to his YouTube channel via a QR code you can scan to send you to the Conan official YouTube channel, where there is a 45-ish minute video where they are interviewing Jim and Doug, right? And that uploaded last night, Monday, at like midnight. It's been up all day today. I've not had a chance to watch it. And tomorrow, Wednesday, it should be available for everyone that gets their comic book to watch right after they finish, right? So Sean reached out to me a while back to ask me if I had any questions for this interview, and I sent some in. I think he couldn't get the ones for Jim on time, but there are some that I made for Doug Braithwaite that will hopefully be in the video. I think that'll be fun, and it's exciting to be part of stuff like this. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought down below, and please go check out the YouTube video. I will add it to my list of things to mention the next time that I do a Sumerian news roundup. So thank you guys very much for watching once again, and see you guys next time.